New update for Helldivers 2. Official Escalation of Freedom announcement trailer. This dropped yesterday. I have not seen it yet. I don't know what we're dealing with. Let's see. You guys are saying it's cool, so that's promising. That's good. Let's see what we got.
Since launch, we've improved Helldivers quite significantly together with you, the community. We've released a lot of content, such as the flyers, the TCS missions, the destruction of an entire planet. This time around, we've got something special prepared for you.
It's our first step out of many, where we're gonna expand the game in big, meaningful ways.
New game modes, new objectives, new enemies, and even a whole new difficulty.
To give you that, we have to escalate it. An escalation of freedom.
Okay.
When freedom escalates, its opponents escalate.
We're bringing back a fan favorite from Helldivers 1, the stabby, tentacled beast known as the Impaler.
When you're playing against the Terminids, you can always try and run away. The Impaler ruins that plan. They will maybe cut off your escape route, and then you will probably have to stay and fight. Or you can fight the tentacles.
The Spore Charger. This one has fog traveling around it.
Oh, damn it.
It's constantly moving, so it's going to come right out of the fog and scare the lights out of you.
The automatons are bringing in artillery.
A big tank that shoots rockets.
If you're further away, you can see it aimed towards the skies and fire rockets in the air, so you'll have a barrage coming down on you.
In addition, you'll face off against heavier, more deadly brood commanders.
With a small twist. The allies that it spawned will not be the ones that you're used to.
Difficulty 10 has more enemies than we've had before on lower difficulties. We've really ramped it up. It's meant to feel like a real progression from 9 to 10.
We're also introducing a larger type of outpost, and it's going to be a real challenge to take on these massive fortresses. But if you manage to do so, there will be great rewards waiting for you. Of course, what would the galaxy be without planets? Therefore, we wanted to spook it up with a new version of the swamp environment.
Ooh, love it. I love spoopy planets.
Comes with a new mechanic. It reduces the armor of enemies and Helldivers alike. You'll do a lot more damage, but you'll also take more in return, which is just as horrifying as it sounds.
In Escalation of Freedom, we have new objectives coming in, like the Retrieve Larva mission, where you find this backpack with little crying larvae that you need to reach the extraction with. But you also have to be careful because it's gonna be crying a lot, and you're getting swarmed by more and more Terminids.
Real talk, seeing that backpack made me think of something. How long do you think it is until PlayStation brings over like other crossovers from the rest of their IP? Like what I immediately thought of with that was, when are they going to bring over like a Death Stranding crossover where you have like a BB-8, or not a BB-8, Jesus. That's a different thing. We have a BB and then you have like, you know, the actual like black hands imprinted on the ground, and then you have to actually like stealth around them, which is very different from what you normally do in Helldivers. It just makes too much sense, I think, for them to not do that. I would guess they probably start doing some crossovers like that. I would guess they do that.
With the second Galactic War in full swing, Super-Earth is currently battling the automatons and the bugs for control of the Milky Way. The Automaton Legion, they are constantly building bigger and worse war machines.
Oh, baby.
The Terminids' migration patterns seem to be changing. There's also been some irregular readings of the Terminid spores in the various sectors where the Terminids are spreading. And we will see where the story develops from here.
So, have we told you everything that's gonna be in the Escalation of Freedom? Of course we haven't.
we have many more surprises in store for you.
A surprise here and there that you maybe didn't expect.
On August 6th, I'm ready to dive, and I hope you are too.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm excited. I'll jump in. I'll give it a shot. I kind of stopped playing it after a little while just because like I just started to hit a wall with it. And for me, the long-term like progression was so slow, like grinding all the samples and stuff. It didn't hook me long-term as much as I would have thought. Like I played it for months and months, but it's not a game I've continued to play all year or anything. And it seems like the player counts reflect a similar thing. I know some people quit when there was the PlayStation Plus, or not Plus, the PlayStation account controversy that kind of kicked off. And I'm not one of those people. I didn't find that to be that crazy big of a deal because I actually signed in with my PlayStation account when the game first dropped, like on launch day. And then they disabled the requirement for that connection because of server issue stuff. There were so many people trying to play it, but I already had my account paired, so it wasn't really a big deal for me. I didn't even have to log back in, but I know for some people that was something that they didn't like, so they stopped playing. Or maybe it was just an excuse to stop playing. I don't know. But to see that they're actually continuing to develop it, they're bringing more stuff and bigger stuff. That's exactly what they need to do to keep it interesting. I can't even imagine what that level 10 difficulty is going to be like. That thing has to be nightmarish. Like, Jesus Christ. It's got to be insane, right? I heard they always nerf weapons too much. I think the problem is whenever you have a game like this where something gets in the meta and then everybody chases that meta, the second you balance it, it just feels bad. The second that they bring the weapon's potency down or they toughen up the enemies to make it so the weapon's not as powerful against them, it just feels like the player is being punished. Even though the player didn't do anything wrong, like it just doesn't feel good. You know, in the same way, if you're playing a Marvel Rivals or an Overwatch or anything else, if you have a character that you really connect with, like for me, it was Moira. Moira was my main for a long time in Overwatch, and I got really good at her. But at one point, they nerfed the ever-living crap out of her, and Diva, you know, starts being able to reach and absorb her orbs from way farther away, so she's just not very good anymore. All of a sudden, it felt bad. I had no reason to play Moira anymore, and it wasn't a good feeling. And I think that that's just part of the danger of a game like this. It's always going to happen, you know? Yeah, that was me with Artemis and Smite. It's going to happen. Did you play Moira because of bad aim? Absolutely. 1000%. Yeah, it's just like, even if the balance is totally justified, like DMR Zone, when they balance and get rid of the crazy 2-tap kills in Warzone with the DMR. A lot of people who had been playing with DMR for a week felt bad after that because they were like, it just doesn't feel as good to now have something you enjoyed that falls apart and that is not really working anymore. So I felt that too. They definitely have nerfed a handful of weapons over the course of the time with Helldivers. It's not enough to make me like quit the game or anything, but I have heard that be a complaint from people. As for the potential crossover stuff, yeah, I do think so. Yeah, you got to protect your franchise. I'm trying to think if they've done other crossovers similar to that with like other Death Stranding stuff. Nothing like pops off the top of my head, but I mean, they've done pretty much any crossover you could possibly imagine for like Horizon Zero Dawn, bringing Aloy to the game. So who knows, maybe we'll get big robot dinosaurs that look suspiciously like they're from Horizon, and then Aloy will show up and be like, I'm here to fight freedom with you, and then put hands on her fists, or fists on her hips, not hands on her fists. That doesn't make any sense. Fists on her waist, and then it's going to be like, wow, she is stunning, brave, and beautiful. That's what I'm expecting. A Kratos cape, that would be a layup. If they brought like a big axe, imagine if they did that. They brought an axe melee weapon, that'd be cool. That'd be pretty cool. There's opportunities. Oh, Astrobot coming in and dropping bombs. That would actually be really funny if they did that. Imagine if that's one of the stratagems you can call in is like Astrobot gets deployed and then he just like runs in and just explodes in a massive. That'd be pretty cool. Armored Core crossover. I don't know. Does PlayStation have any rights to Armored Core? Even if they don't, that would be like a match made in heaven. That just makes too much sense. But yeah, there's so many things that they could do. I think they're going to start ramping that stuff up because you got to remember, they did not expect this game to be this big. When this dropped in February, I think it was. When this dropped, they didn't think it was going to be this big. So they had a pretty small team working on the game. And after it exploded in popularity, they started hiring more people. They expanded their roadmap. They started embracing more crazy ideas for what they could do. And it takes a while to get that stuff done and put in the game. And I think we're going to see that stuff start to trickle out probably starting in August, on August 6th when this drops. And then we're going to see continual updates later this year, early next year, and they're going to continue trying to support it from there. So that's my guess. Sony will acquire Arrowhead by the end of the year, calling it. I mean, it seems like a layup. The devs effed up early when they nerfed the fun out of the game. It killed the momentum they had. I don't know if the nerfs were that aggressive. Like, I know there was the fire shotgun they nerfed. There was the thing with the, was it the rail gun that was super broken? There were a couple of things that they nerfed that did feel bad. And with a game like this, when you grind for something, and in this case, it's like grinding samples or grinding whatever I forget what they're called, the commendations or whatever to get something in the battle passes. When you grind for that stuff for hours and hours and hours, and then you finally get it, and then it's nerfed and useless, it just feels really bad. It just, you're like, I just wasted all that time to get something that you then broke and nerfed. I wouldn't have grinded for it if I knew you were going to nerf it or nerf it that bad, you know? So I think that frustration certainly comes with it. And it's why like day one balance is so important, because if you screw up balance, then you have to punish players on the back end. It's just going to feel bad. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Very generous. Thank you, my friend. Helldivers and Elden Ring spoiled almost all games for me. It's like when Morty stepped on the perfectly level surface Rick made, and once he stepped off, the world was just wrong. I think that similar thing happened for a lot of people last year, and I don't think you're alone. Last year and 2022 spoiled a lot of people with, like, you know, God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring, and then frickin' Baldur's Gate 3 and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Like, there were so many games that were 9, 10 out of 10s that now when we get games that are like 8 out of 10s or 8.5 out of 10s, they feel significantly worse. He took my thing.